So, this is my first go-around. I recently got a new job at a small engine shop. Been into small motors most of my life. I love the GoPed 2-stroke. I actually run a GoPed 2-stroke on my 8-speed bicycle. And I couldn't pass this up because they were about to be thrown into the junk pile, and I absolutely had to grab them. One of them is a Stihl, and one of them is a Tanaka. Both of them drills. They're both going to be put on bicycles at some point, and the Stihl runs as is with a little bit of gas. The Tanaka I'll have to go through the carburetor and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure it has spark. Need to do a little bit of diagnostic on it, but they both are in really good condition considering that they were used as concrete saws, or not saws, but drills rather, and they work. So I'll show you them. So this is the Tanaka drill that I got for free out of a junk pile at the place of my business. It is a 27cc 2-stroke. Yes, it is carb 2 compliant. That can easily be deleted. I've been into the GoPed world most of my life. Hoped and dreamt for a GoPed, asking for one every Christmas from my parents, and never got one. Finally got a chain drive GoPed off of Craigslist from a guy that became a really good friend. Thanks, Sean. And that was recently stolen out of my trunk, which was a big heartbreak. But I still have a 55-mile-an-hour bicycle that I built using a 46cc 2-stroke GoPed engine. And that thing is quick. So quick, in fact, that I keep breaking stuff. So I've decided to take the power down a little bit and utilize the 8-speed a little bit more effectively. This motor should spin about 8,000 RPM in stock form. And after I get done with it, with a little bit of port work and a carburetor and a 2-stroke expansion exhaust, which every 2-stroke should have, then it'll actually spin some decent RPM, probably 10,000 plus. I'm spinning 13,000 plus on the bike that I run at a 46cc. This is only 27cc, so a whole lot less torque, but that's okay. There is still lots to do with it. 1.4 horsepower stock rating. I don't know at what RPM that is at. That's just from some initial preliminary looking and stuff for the numbers that this thing actually produces stock. That will give me an idea of what to do port-wise, as well as carburation-wise, and port and carburation determines how big your pipe is going to be. This is all basic stuff for anybody that knows 2-stroke. But if you don't know 2-stroke, maybe try and follow these videos, because I will walk through it step by step for the layman to actually be able to rebuild exactly what I'm doing. This little motor right here is going on that Schwinn scooter that has a 1,000cc or 1,000-watt electric engine that is completely bogus. Actually, it only rates at about 750 watts, and they go for about 15 minutes wide open throttle on a full charge. In my opinion, that's just garbage. And I've already done one conversion on a solid axle with no suspension on a Schwinn with a 25cc GoPed Geo engine, stratocharged POS, but it still worked, and it worked well after I took the stratocharged pipes out. So this isn't stratocharged, and it's 27cc. I think it'll make some decent power. If I can get it to rev anywhere above 11,000 RPM, it's going to be making 2.5 plus horsepower. And if you can utilize that with the gear reduction, if you know what you're doing, then it'll move you at 35 plus on a 27cc engine that sips fuel. Put it on a bicycle with pedals, and in most states you can get away with not having registration and not having insurance. And some people call them liquor cycles because people build them after they lose their license from getting DUIs. I didn't do that. I just like to go really fast on a bicycle, and I really liked my bike. It would not be replaced by the Schwinn by any means, but it's just another project. I will definitely do a build video or a teardown video and a rebuild video of my bike. It's a 46cc 2-stroke, 8-speed on an aluminum framed mountain bike. I belong to several bike forums, and the numbers that I put down astonish people. With a confirmed top speed of 55 on a really good Garmin GPS, and then after that there was some really good numbers on not only my cat-eye computer that's on the bike, but the GPS on my phone that was in my pocket. They both matched up within 0.1 mile an hour of 57.6 on the phone and 57.4 on the cat-eye computer. That's really quick. If you're going that fast on a 2-wheeled bicycle with tires that are this big, believe me, you are very self-aware. Not only just self-aware, but paranoid, kind of. If you're going that fast, I suggest always wear a helmet. I did bust myself on that bike when I was just putting around doing some testing. I think I hit a piece of sidewalk chalk, and the front tire just kind of slid out from under me at about 35. I busted my nugget. Always wear a helmet, even if you're just doing testing. I always wear my helmet now. Always. If I'm just hopping on it for 5 pedals, I'm just going to wear my helmet. Don't be stupid, don't bust your nugget like I did. But because you're wearing a helmet, you can put yourself in a situation where you feel a little more confident. Don't get overconfident because you're wearing a helmet. I've done that very same thing on a dirt bike. I'm not going to get into that right now, but believe me, don't push your luck. Always buck it up and don't feel like Superman because you're wearing one. I will get into several videos about building this motor and the Stihl that's right over here on the floor that I brought home at the same time. The Stihl runs. This one is going to need some extra stuff because I put the choke on. I'll put the spark plug back on. I'll put the choke on. I have the air filter off right now. I'll give it a pull. And hey, that's the first life I've heard. So thank you, video, for giving me and proving me wrong. It does have compression, but that was the first life that I've heard from it, and it's making spark, and it does have a carburetor that's not all plugged up on it, but the carburetor is being changed out because I'm sorry, those tiny little, well, that was wonderful. Thank you for that, phone. Anyway, these tiny little Walbro primer carburetors, they just don't flow that well. And if you can see, well, the choke's in the way now. You can see that tiny little hole. It's a pretty small little throat. I will be upgrading that to something more like a WYK 58 with an adjustable high and a low, so that I can get the right fuel amount in it, and that will allow me to use the same carburetor while I change the exhaust out from a stock can to maybe a higher flow stock can, and then eventually a performance expansion chamber. That is like a 2-stroke supercharger. If you don't understand that, do a little bit of research. You can just follow my feed. I will explain it. It's basically a pressure wave that shoves more air and fuel that escapes when the timing is off. It shoves it back in to the compression, to the cylinder, into the combustion chamber. And if you don't have a good tuned pipe, you're losing out on power on any 2-stroke. I have a 2-stroke 50cc street scooter with a little bit higher compression. It has a very restricted exhaust. It'll top out at 45 on the flat. That's not terrible. It's not great. I can do 55 plus on a 46cc 2-stroke, but it weighs about half as much. So there is losses with speed, wind drag, all kinds of stuff. There's lots to get into. There's lots to say. If anybody likes my first video, go ahead and give me some comments. Go ahead and like me. I will be starting a channel, and I have a little bit of knowledge to share. So if anybody wants to listen, I am definitely willing to take answers, to give answers to questions that people may have about any two-stroke or any internal combustion engine. I understand internal combustion theory. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. It's a little bit dirty, but it's the best way to explain it to somebody that has no idea what you're talking about, because you'll always remember it after that. It's how my dad taught me. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching some of the guys that got me into the thought of actually pulling one of these off. I mess around with this kind of stuff all the time. I work in a small motor shop. I fix two-stroke chainsaws, dirt bikes, outboard engines, anything. I love two-stroke. It makes more power than a four-stroke per revolutions. Lots of things to say. I may end up remaking this video, but if not, you get to see my first attempt. This little Tanaka actually just gave me some life, and that's pretty promising. I am going to be putting it on that little Schwinn scooter. I already have a billet mount for the 54mm clutch that the Tanaka has, and if I'm not satisfied with the power that it makes, I already have a 78mm mount and 460, same engine that I run on my bike. It's 4.2 horsepower stock. I run a small expansion pipe on my bike. It's probably making closer to 5 horsepower, and I haven't touched anything else inside of it. There's lots more to be had from a 460. The GoPed world has opened them up to be able to compete with a 62cc monster that costs over $1,000 brand new. Zenoa G62. Big motor, makes lots of torque, really hard to build it if you don't know how to port it. And I've never built one. I've ridden one or two. Never built one because I just don't have the coin to toss at just an engine. But I'm a father of two. I work out of a 2-car garage on my time off, and I really enjoy working on stuff. So I figured maybe I'd share my experience and see if anybody wants to listen. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. I will be definitely posting videos at least weekly, probably more like 2 or 3 times a week, because I'm in the garage working that often. And I got a real good buddy that you'll probably see on camera a lot. And his name's TJ. He has a DSM. And for anybody that knows what the heck that is, he's working on it every week. It's a 90/60 Eclipse, pushing about 18 pounds of boost that we put together in here. So I work on a little bit of everything. Anybody with a question, anybody with a comment, suggestion for the Schwinn build, I don't know everything. I'm totally open to suggestions. But anyway, from this side of the pond in Colorado Springs, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.